Hello, and welcome to my session. Actually, my first session on video on how to activate creative imagination. We're going to utilize creative imagination. Bear with me for a second on the principles of Carl Gustav Jung, okay? Where he talks in the Red Book about how to activate your creativity through concentrating, focusing on a dream, let the unconscious speak, generate an artifact on paper, analyze the message, and practice. So what I do, I've been doing it for a while now. Part of my psychoanalysis and my therapy work is where I do drawings by mind mapping. And this is literally a technique that was started by Leonardo Da Vinci back in the Renaissance, where he would mind map and doodle. So here's a doodle that I have here. Let's see if I can lean it against the wall here. And the doodle literally starts with a situation, excuse me, a situation that I've been encountering with a partner, a three-dimensional partner that we share a life together. I call it a 3D soulmate. And that person has been in my life for a while, and it's literally, literally, it's very interesting how we started, and where we're at, and now I had to go back to the initial beginning of the relationship to realize, was I setting myself up to a reality that was not going to happen. Okay, so rather getting into the specifics about the relationship, most important to activate the symbolism of the relationships and how I feel about my emotions. And this is really interesting because this is a doodle I did on January 31st. I put numbers, and I also speak Spanish and Italian, so I put stuff in Italian, Spanish, and language, culture, sensibility of my emotions, how I see reality. It's all interlaced. It's what we call ligado is bounded. It's all bounded in a very precise way, of our reality, which goes into the subconscious mind. Okay, here I have I laid out a Jung structuralism on ego, subconscious, the collective, unconscious, and all the areas we have to go here through archetypes, the animas. Hopefully we find ourselves, the shadow, and this is an area where we deal with a lot of masculine energies or a lot of feminine energies, which Jung would talk about the anima, or the animas, and these are realities, especially in modern times, where these energies have evolved for what they are. Just Jean-Paul Sartre came to my mind, an existentialist. It is what it is, you see? And what we thought it was, it's not. So these drawings help me psychoanalytically to understand my emotions. What happens is, if you don't process emotions and feelings, you go back to ego. Now, if you turn to consciousness and turn away from ego, you go into your subconscious. Because literally here is where the imaginary, the symbolism, the poetics, the reverie of life is being all formulated with the subconscious mind. It's kind of the subconscious is your other side. You might even want to call it your lover, because you're having an intimate relationship with consciousness in the subconscious mind. to really understand who you are and who are the people that are in your life, that came into your life. Sometimes they leave, sometimes they were there, but they weren't really there. They were in a certain space that they were occupying. That was Euclidean, what they call Euclidean geometry, right? The fifth postulate, they were right here in the fifth postulate. They were all about their space. They were all about their sexual energies. They were all about their ego. And we talk about ego thinking, well, the person is an egomaniac or the person thinks he's the greatest. No, that's a narcissist. And we all have narcissistic behavior. You know, in therapy, I have worked on, my opinion, based on analysis, 20 something years now in analysis. I've done Jung, I've done Freud, I've done Gestalt. I feel that I've been able to minimize my narcissism, and whatever's left, like 7 or 9% of it, it's manageable, especially when I get pissed, when I don't get my way, or service oriented. I don't get, the ice cream I want, or I don't get the dessert I want, and my narcissism comes out. Anyway, so what happens is, this figure here, this is a doodle I did about myself and about moving forward, and the person is moving backwards from an analytical geometric perspective. Okay, so what I do is I start with a line drawing. I call them quantum drawing, because you just go, you never leave the pen never leaves the paper. You just go around, and really you don't think about, you think about letting go. Just let the pencil do the magic. The pencil becomes the wand, the abracadabra. Okay, so you just let the pencil do the magic. Then you start outlining a figure that will be reflective of the person that you're having this displacement with. And then you bring certain dates up. Right? Now, here is, you could say, well, the person is going down, but it's the other way around. When you let go, let's say when you're swimming upstream, it's very challenging. When you're riding a bicycle uphill, it's very challenging. But when you let things go, you're really letting go. You're going downhill. You're releasing a lot of unnecessary physical and psychological pulling. So you start, it's almost like a skier. You start skiing down the mountain. You start riding the bike down the mountain. You start swimming against the stream. And this is the moment where you can validate that you're heading in the right direction. So the drawing is kind of quantum related, where I have a loop here, and the figure has been stretched out. We know by general relativity and special relativity, where Einstein talks about the distortion of space-time, where space either shrinks or extends itself, and then time is the fourth dimension. So here we're bringing a three-dimensional reality, but we're also bringing a four-dimensional reality, where how do we occupy not only the three-dimensional world, but the four-dimensional reality? This is the subconscious mind, but most important, let me correct that, the fourth-dimensional reality, right? It's really the uncollective, the collective unconscious. The collective unconscious. It's the realm of quantum, the world of infinite possibilities. Everything is in our collective unconscious. From the first neutrino, the first subatomic particle, the first atom, we're made out of that. So that power that we have to formulate a loop, a quantum loop, is to show us that our energy is so precise and so full of luminosity, the luminosity of the universe. And I'm not talking about the universe from a New Age perspective. I'm talking the universe of physics, the universe of quantum mechanics. What's out there in the universe is within us, inside, in our intrinsic structure. So anyway, now there's another drawing that comes up. What I do is I get that drawing and then I take it to the next level, where I come in and I start defining what I see here, how I see myself with the forces, how I'm interlaced. We go back to the word interlacing. I love it in Spanish. It's called liado, liar, where you're bounded with source. You're bounded with infinite possibilities. Then you start analyzing that the power is within, and the power that you have within is the power that you can manipulate and start structuring your three-dimensional world. Here I have like riding a bike, or the Newtonian forces, what goes up goes down, what comes around, karmic. For every action there's a counteraction. There's Newton's law number 3. And then it looks like the person is throwing a disc. It's almost like a Greek Olympian throwing a disc. And what you learn is you learn in life to be flexible instead of being brittle, that you break very quickly. You learn to be very fluid and very strong, where you don't break. Like here, this man, or a portrait of my self-portrait of my imaginary possibility, is this throwing this weight around, maybe throwing the world around like a disc, where the world fits in my hand. I have the world in my hand, not with ego, but with the forces of physics and with the forces of quantum mechanics. I have the power within to hold the power, the external powers, the external forces. I really love color. This is a series that I'm working on. I've been working on for a while now, called Out of the Blue. And what blue means to me, the blue sky, the blue planet, right? The little blue planet that we occupy. And the blue planet moves around the sun, right? Like the crank in a bicycle, a pedal. Every time you do a full range of motion in a pedal, you're emulating, reflectively, you're emulating how the planets move around the sun. And if we're able to calibrate with the forces of the universe, all the forces, Isaac Newton, of the planets, the gravity forces, we're aligned. And if we ride a bicycle, we know how perfect it is, because once we stop, the bicycle falls off, unless you lean it against the wall or what have you. But riding a bicycle is perfect because you're in perfect harmony. You won't fall off the bike, no matter what level of performance you have. You will not fall off because you're in balance with the forces. I think what these drawings do, it starts to formulate how a feeling can start with a line drawing, and if you let it go and you just flow with it, like I said, you flow with the gestural, and then you start making some sense out of it. You will see in those lines where you're at. You will see those lines are like rivers and forest, and inside those rivers and forests, maybe you will find yourself. And I think this is what this study on mind mapping, triggering the active imagination by Jung, letting the unconscious speak through being conscious of how we feel about ourselves and our world. Thank you for watching.